welcome back to another Fort Triumph on Guinea Titan. This is the second part of a redo because I deleted the original playthrough. And this is, we're week 3, day 1, and so we're second hour into the game, and there's no sign of the enemy team, so I'm starting to get really wary. There are a few tactical and strategic errors made at this hour because where I back out of fights, so I reload fights. I don't show those fights. I'm also missing a piece of footage. For some reason the video stopped recording and I didn't stop playing. I didn't notice. You'll see it as we go along. You're not missing a huge amount, but the big thing is that at this stage of the game I need to hang on to my experienced heroes. So because if I don't hang on to my experienced heroes, when I meet the enemy team, I will basically not be in the races. Now the big thing at the moment is that I haven't upgraded my parties beyond the 3-member party. Ordinarily I would, if we had made contact with the enemy. If I'd seen the enemy earlier, I would probably have done it before this, but I kind of feel that I'm getting away with it. So it's not a priority immediately, because I don't need it to take on the random encounters on the world. I just need it to take on the enemy, to give me the edge over an enemy hero party, because the last thing you want is an experienced enemy hero party that's bigger than yours. That could be very difficult to deal with. So that's not to say that some of the world fights are actually too difficult. There are fights in the world that I have take on that are actually proved to be too difficult, and some of them, despite the fact that they're actually indicating as a relatively easy fight, sometimes it's at this stage of the game that you start to not be able to trust the combat indicator, because equipment tells a lot. Equipment can make your team a lot stronger than it is, particularly against world map units, but sometimes then it can grossly underestimate hero units you're up against, because they may actually have cooler and better equipment than you do. And sometimes, for instance, you might have, say, a small party, fairly high level heroes, and it will indicate that the fight will be easy, but your heroes are ranged, so the wizard and the ranger, and in which case your resilience is quite low, so the actual ability to win that fight is not as good as the battle indicator might think. So there's a few factors to take into account when you're looking at the battle indicator at this stage of the game. Its reliability starts to diverge. This was, like I said, a rather unusual playthrough in that I did not run into the enemy party. It was very late in the game. Now that gave me the benefit of a rather luxurious build-up, so that by the time I did meet the enemy party, I was actually pretty well set up to do so. Now this this fight isn't so bad, because I actually have some pretty reasonably advanced heroes in this particular party, so that we have some skills on every of these parts. So I move in here and I just bring the cleric into range of my fireburst, and we just fireburst them, and that pretty much will take care of them fairly substantially, and we just advance the fireburst there. Now, no matter what I do here, this guy's going to trigger an opportunity attack, which is going to affect him. I don't have any, well, I suppose I could brace, but then I could make no attack if I braced. It would minimize the damage, probably be the more cautious move, because there's now a fairly high percentage chance. It's going to go 60% chance of succeeding because of the blindness. However, it did succeed, and that made a difference. So problem here is my ranger's on very low health. So I don't know why. This is something I do quite a lot, and it's a bad habit of mine, but I actually didn't use the healing potion. There's no particular reason why I shouldn't have. I should be more willing to use healing potions. I tend to be a bit too conservative with potions, kind of hanging on, whereas I think I'm better off just using them. And in fact, I turned out to be fairly well set up with gear in this playthrough, so I'm often actually have healing potions. Because this is one of the things you find later on as you finish up, you'll have healing potions that you won't have given to your party, because you'll have all your inventory slots spent on equipment. Now, I did stun my own wizard, but I felt it was worth it because I take the two of them out of the fight. The two enemy units, and there's just these guys up here which are out of range effectively. Okay, it was an 86% chance, but it's a peasant unit and he's not going to survive. So I just need to close with the cleric here. And yeah, we take the hit, but we're using Fireburst. Fireburst isn't going to be a targeted hit, so I'm going to hit anyway. And here, well, here we should have a very good chance of finishing this guy off, like by rights, 74%, and we missed. And then I bring the ranger up, practically point blank range, 75% chance, and I miss again. Well, I don't miss, but I don't kill. And I don't cause any bleeding, but he's got enough hit points to survive, so we finish him off. We get the grudge camp benefit, and this guy heals himself up. So it's not going to make any difference. He's not going to heal himself up enough to survive the attention of the savage at this point in the turn. We've won the fight and we're out of this particular battle. We get some more renown, so that builds on towards our increasing guild abilities. You will generally, I find, run out of guild abilities. That's probably the biggest flaw in the skirmish playthrough, is that by the time you've tracked down the last enemy unit, the chances are you're going to be ahead on money and guild. Now I'm going for magic here because I am actually bottlenecked by magic. I can't build certain buildings back in my castle because I have lacked the magic. Now that's a really nice artifact there, the goblin energy drink behind that cleric. Obviously the EA magic farm, the mana farms are worth getting your hands on if you can, but they're not the easiest things to liberate. They can be very, very well defended. They often require high level parties to wrinkle them out, and even then you're risking losing a hero unit. There's another one. These are much easier fights. Some of them are quite easy. That's a really nice artifact as well, but again very heavily defended. And I think I finish up never actually getting that one by a combination of just not having units in the area more than anything else. So we're also kind of equally interested in exploring at this point. We want to see what's going on without necessarily picking, but that's something for nothing, like, you know, so we're going to pick that up. Get the Mask of War. I think we've already got one of the other masks. And sure enough, yes, we have the other mask. We have our Oppression Orb and the Slime Stick. So plus 2 power, plus 3 speed, plus 30 accuracy, plus 100% physics, but minus 25% health, which can be quite tough. I suppose I could afford to put it on Elena, and it would have been quite something else as well. Lindy, an experience booster as well. Now the thing is, this is actually a tough enough fight because of the skeleton arrow blasters, and it turns out the first time I try it, I don't actually make it. So it's a fight because. So what I did was I restarted. In fact, I kind of jumped into it without really paying attention. So I finished up restarting this fight. I think I didn't even fight the fight the first time around because I said I wanted to actually use the Orb of Oppression. The Orb of Oppression shuts down overwatches and attacks of opportunity. But I reckon in my particular case, I could do with it because the persistent overwatch of the skeleton arrow blasters is worth shutting down. It enables me to advance in at the first turn, because even in the first turn you're going to take casualties from that thing, even with shielding and bolstering and bracing and all the rest of it. So it allows me to get in, get stun acts on these things before they operate, and essentially take out these dangerous units from the fight by stunning them very early on in the game. And in the next round they're very vulnerable then to be just taken out completely, because this is a reasonably experienced force. Now we have a number of options. I think that item is very useful as a disposable item, but it's a very powerful item when you have it in the game. But I think I might kick people around first, see who's stunned, and then see maybe what the most effective place to use it is. So we're actually going to move, at the end of it, we're probably going to move the wizard first. I still haven't actually gone for tactics yet, which is another guild upgrade that I have to go for fairly early in the game. Gives you extra action points, and action points are very valuable in this game, like, because obviously every action is an action. Some of them cost 2, so we're going to send the whirlwind down that way to take these two out of the fight. Another one of the swordsmen taken out, and now we can maximize the actions of our ranger. So, very low chance of hitting. Just basically scanning around, seeing what the chances of hitting any particular individual was. Eventually I decided to go with the pillar behind the swordsman. Stuns the swordsman and removes an awful lot of his hit points. And then we'll go for the orb. Now I don't need to go in front because he's already been taken out. But anyway, I decided to include him in the thing. And it finishes up that I actually managed to kill the air blaster in that particular grouping. So there's only one skeleton air blaster left. So this simplifies matters a lot. Well, they can't use Overwatch anyway, so but they are fairly powerful. Even still, they actually do a nasty amount of damage with that bow of theirs, and fortunately for me, that skeleton archer stayed back a bit. I think it'd have been a lot worse for me if he actually come forward. Because the problem is, you see, you can come in and you get yourself a fairly devastating first round, but then you've exhausted a lot of your abilities, and you're waiting for second round the abilities to come back off cooldown. Now, as you develop in the game, of course, you have higher level heroes, and your abilities, you have more abilities. So you have stuff coming back off a cooldown, and you have more stuff to do in between. Now this is the case, we have everybody nicely lined up. We fire blast everyone, so we get maximum damage and a level up out of that one. And we take Bloodlust. Bloodlust is well worth taking and should be promoted if you get the chance, as soon as you get the chance, because it gives you an action point, and an extra action point is, you know, more stuff that you can do. In fact, the benefit of Bloodlust will start to show itself very powerfully, even in this fight, after just getting it. So, the lightning strike there managed to take out some of the skeletons, and we missed 71% chance, but that's the way it goes. Sometimes you miss these shots, and there's not a lot of them left. That hurt a lot. The luckiest aspect here actually is the skeleton archer. The remaining skeleton archer decided, he went for the mage, but decided to go for the stun attack rather than the direct attack. I think if the air blaster had gone for direct attack, they would have killed the skeleton mage, and that would have been bad. So I was probably taking a chance there that I shouldn't have taken. However, Now we can keep the skeleton art blaster on the back foot. The savage can stay on top of them and reduce them down to 1 hit points. Fortunately, they don't bleed. They're skeletons. So we're going to run the wizard as far away as we can get her because she hasn't got any attacks around this round. And we have an attack really on the art blaster or on the militia. Oh, the swordsman. Yeah. Whatever it is, militia. And we've one more militia a little further away. However, the ranger has a decent amount of hit points. We get some attacks back in the zone of control. Or from the grudge track or whatever it is that gives us the retaliatory attack. So now we're going to take out the art blaster in this turn. No matter what way we do. We get an action point back, which isn't, I don't think, going to make a hell of a difference, but we might sort of bring the savage back towards where the remaining fight is going on. Right, we have this attack. We might as well make it, and then we run away into cover, so we're hidden. And the ranger can really, I don't think they can make a bow attack. But we get the skeleton out of range, and then we just do the attack, and they still have, they would, well, even if it missed, chances are if they move to go to cover, they'd probably die anyway, so that would, the fight would have ended in this particular round, no matter what way we look. So we've managed to win that fight. Not a great or clean victory, but it was good enough, and we'll take it. And it means that we have opened up one of the spaces to our home territory. And that's useful because we can kind of link up our parties and we have a quick route back to the home territory, at least more than one route back to the home territory. So if we need to come back and cover it, if an enemy party appeared, say, and pushed through one of the other entrances, we have an opportunity to do so, and we'll get some warning as well when they do it. So we're upgrading the university. That opens up a whole bunch of higher tier advancements, both in the guild and in the town, and this is a useful thing to do with your party. Radio, next operation up. Now, we're earning decent amounts of money. We are not earning any magic, which is a problem. There's some nice artifacts lying around. Artifacts, like I said, if you manage to get, there's some artifacts in the game, and if you manage to get them, I will take out the Dire Orb again. I don't want it by default in a party. But that sword looks nice. The Goblin Energy Drink looks nice, although it is kind of a Hulk smash type thing. You can have a devastating opening round with it, or at least the round you use it on can be pretty devastating. The problem with it is that then it reduces your action points by 1 in the following round. So this shouldn't be too difficult to fight, to see. We can get up. Make sure I put on my bolster, because that's free and it's useful, and the enemy will get a counterattack this round. We soap this guy up so that he goes as far as possible with the physics, and he just slides all the way over to the edge fence. Which is, you know, it's okay, it's as good as we get. He didn't hit anybody on the route, but we have 2 people lined up here in a row, so hopefully this will work out. Yes, nothing missed. So that is also useful, and we'll just overwatch him because I don't think there's anything dreadfully smart that I can do. He's got a better chance of attacking the Overwatch than he actually would if I attacked in his own turn, because things move out of cover. Right, so that gives him a level up. We're going to take the level up. We're going to take the knockback arrow, because knockback is really powerful. There are, I think, frequently more opportunities for knockback on a battlefield than there are for the grappling hook. Now, the enemy wizard has kicked in one of these kind of healing attack modes, but it takes a full round to do it, so it doesn't do its thing until the start of the wizard's next round. So I basically have to the start of the wizard's next round to kill the wizard. And bolster reappears, so I'm going to just use the extraction point to get in close, and then we just eviscerate him. And that's it. So whatever he was planning on doing to my wizard doesn't really matter when we gain an action point, so we go back down again. However, the wizard has gained a skill out of this and has to pick something, so we just advance the lightning, because the lightning, as well as the reduction and cooldown, eventually goes to getting the electrocute property. And the electrocute is actually pretty good, because the electrocute gives you a modest amount of damage every time that unit moves after being hit by the chain lightning, just like the bigger electrocute, which does a lot more damage, obviously. Now the peasant is electrocuted, so it has already been wounded, I think. So hit him with the arrow, and he only makes 2 squares before the electrocute kills him, and that's it. We have another fight won, and we are now picking up the loot. And that's it. So we'll just have to see what we get, because I can't quite remember what it was. Oh yes, it's the Dragon Slayer sword, which actually does quite a bit of stuff and is actually one of the more useful ones. So we'll give that to the paladin, because the paladin is actually pretty much lower level, and the savage has already got toys of her own, so she doesn't need it. This is a relatively easy fight, and the only benefit really is that you get access to the beat, which can be put in for cash or a +1 to health, and it's one of the few kind of bonus health things, so sometimes it can be useful to do it for health. Now I could do it a bit more development as well. We could do it slightly bigger parties and slightly more heroes, because we did lose some at the start, and I did accept the losses. And back into another fight. So here we have well, we have a couple of options. We can go right in here, we can kick across the top of the map. We've revealed another guy at the back. There's actually quite a few people around. Now, obviously I was planning on doing the kick, and I changed my mind, and I'm not 100% sure whether that was a smart thing to do or not, but it took 1 action point, so I got over to there. So the idea is that I would suspect what I was thinking there is that I have done a serious enough amount of damage, and that the savage will now draw people from the far side of the map, while I kind of concentrate on seeing if I can do a lot more damage to these people over here on that was revealed, should we say. Now, a lot of them are skeleton weaklings. And this is where the advantage of the knockback arrow comes in, because I have, like I said, more opportunities to knock back. Because if I knock back, I can get 3, 4 actually, because I broke up a barrel of coals. So I get some burning attacks, but I also knocked the pillar over on the last guy, whereas if I pulled forward, it'd be just the pillar on whoever's in front of it, and it wouldn't be as effective an attack. So we do have a skeleton militia loose, and within reach to do damage. And there's another one here, and going for the ranger. The burning people are, some of them are stunned. Is everybody stunned? No, one of them is not stunned. We won't have too many hit points left by the time he gets into position. And it looks like he's going to burn for another round now. I'm not too sure. So we've picked up an action point, I think, from a retaliatory strike there. This, I think, was kind of silly. It was not an optimal spot. I should have put him behind the other militiaman. Have everybody lined up in a row, because you have 3 action points. So I can move and kick, and I could have done it in such a way that I could have taken all 3 of them. I don't know what was going through my head to put him there. I could have gotten him as well in that kick. And I still have an action point, so I'm going to go beside the archer because that stops the archer from immediately shooting. It does mean, okay, if the reaction is robbed, he can still shoot or he can still get away, so we say, but without triggering an opportunity attack. But meanwhile, where I am, it's probably the better option, and we still have an action point remaining here. Now I decided there's no advantage in moving, but I could take advantage of the wizard's action point by moving that guy out of the way so that he's no longer interfering with my shot, and I can actually, I'm not in melee range of an enemy melee unit, and I can actually make the shot on this guy, so that gets rid of him. Now what's happened here is I had the opportunity to correct my earlier mistake. But if I had done it right, I could probably move the ranger forward and at least put, say, that archer under overwatch so that he would have taken a wound moving out to release the other archer from overwatch. Now, he didn't have much chance of hitting the wizard, so that wasn't likely to be much of a difference. Now, obviously, I was thinking of going in, just doing a straightforward kill on that guy and using the 2 ranged units to kill the other guy. But then I thought of a different plan. I go to there with 1 action point. I have an action point to spare, so I use that action point to put him there right in front of me, and then with my, well, I soap him up so as he goes sliding along quite nicely, and then we kick him, and that eliminates one of the remaining skeletons. So I have only a stunned skeleton remaining, and I still have an action point, so I can go into contact with that skeleton so that they trigger an attack of opportunity, and we've a level up so we can maximize the slash damage that the ranger can, or that the savage can do. And finally, for the end, we just move up and we just trigger the opportunity attack of the savage to get rid of the last remaining enemy unit, which gives us 165 renown, which should be enough to actually do something. It's a nice piece of renown. It's good value for money there, like, you know, and we might give us the opportunity for another benefit on the guild side of the upgrades. So here we are. We've picked up not a lot. The real loot is here at the growing beat, and I can choose. Obviously, I think I chose Bitcoin there, so it looks like I chose the Bitcoin that I wouldn't bother with the other benefit. Now, the nearby fight is actually a tough one. The trouble is these are relatively low leveled. I mean, Cerelia, the Crooked Teeth, is first level. Eleanor is second level. I think the Rangers are first level as well. So they're pretty low level heroes. Now, one of the ways, which I don't do here, and I probably should do more of it, one of the ways of boosting heroes is to swap. So you have a party with 3 low level heroes. You take the melee fighter out of, say, one of the groups, and you swap it into the group that has a high level melee fighter, and you swap in a high level melee fighter with low level ranged. The melee fighter will have the capacity to absorb the damage, and they sort of protect your other units. Obviously, I don't touch that Goblin Chieftain fight there with the diadem. It's a really good artifact, but I just don't have the resources to take it. Not a fight that I'm willing to risk now. What do we got here? Potentially it is. I mean, so there's a low enough level party up against what we're facing. However, it's again a low enough leveled enemy opposition unit as well. Not quite sure where I want to go. I suppose we want to take the footmen out if we can. It's also sometimes not separate units too much, because you can make use of the lift if they're close together. I personally would prefer 2 melee and a ranged as my sort of ideal parties for the 3-person party, but things didn't work out in the way I got my heroes at the start, so you have to sort of sometimes work with what you get. We're really benefiting in these fights from the grudge match. It's not going to benefit me as much in this one because only the paladin is able to do it. Elena, because the ranger doesn't have a melee attack, and of course the wizard never gets one. So we take out the footman pretty quickly, and then we just go up to lock down the final peasant. That leaves the other peasant and the footman to act. So what I can do here is obviously I can take advantage. I can take advantage of a number of things. We can move this guy, and we just make it straightforward. Missile attack, however, he's got 1 hit point left, so he can still deal damage. Now I can do 2 attacks with this character. This is the action pot. And I miss. So I thought rather than miss the next attack, that I might as well put it into Overwatch. However, the other footman moves, and he, in my opportunity, misses anyway. However, he didn't do too much damage to my my paladin, so I'm able to survive this fight on both sides. Although the paladin has low enough health, paladin has also got a level up. However, we should be able to finish it on this round, because the paladin will have more or less to be on their own, and we do have a healing potion. So I don't know if I actually take advantage of it. That's another fairly consistent flaw in my game, is that sometimes I don't pick up these healing potions when they're right beside me and they cost nothing to pick up, because they're well worth having. Now that said, there's only 1 enemy unit left, so, you know, is he going to live long if we missed? And just do the heavy lift thing. It triggers an attack of opportunity on the part of the paladin, who gets the oddest of camera angles to deal that finishing blow, and they deal a finishing blow, and that's it. So back to the strategic map again and see how we're positioned. We are doing enough movement left to actually pick up the goodies. It's all about the goodies at this stage, so you want to be picking up as much goodies as you can. No, we don't. Is the answer. We're close to 600 points, which is good enough for something important. There's a couple of things in the guild that are really worth getting. One of them is, of course, the increased numbers of heroes, the increased size of the the inventory, although I don't prioritize that as much as other stuff, and things like patience and accelerator and tactics are also well worth getting. However, it is well past time that we got ourselves the party size 1, so now we can have 4 people in our party. Now, we don't actually have enough, we're not allowed to have enough heroes in the field to put 4 people in our party. So our next priority is to get some magic to upgrade the castle to be able to put 4 people into the field. Now, I'm going to make a save, because I obviously hadn't. But it was well past time that I did. There's another artifact down there, that scroll beside that skeleton swordsman is a really useful artifact as well. Now what I'm doing here is that's an easy fight for either party. Obviously I've decided to go with it, but I mean I could have skipped it as well, because what I'm trying to prioritize here is actually get the 2 parties together. All of that said, I've still seen no sign of the enemy in their turn. So that is also a consideration. Where is the enemy? What's been going on? The likelihood is at this stage that when I do find the enemy, I'll probably find only one. That it'll be the survivor of the previous fight. If you have met your enemies beforehand, you will get informed over the course of the game if one of the enemies you've met has met their demise. But I think if you have met nobody, or if the enemy that was demised is one that you hadn't met, you don't get told anything. The problem is, of course, that at this late in the game, then you're likely to run into enemies that not only have 4 and 5 person parties, but they have lots of parties, because they'll have lots of towns. Because I think it's what, 3 factions and 5 towns. So I haven't run into a town or a party, not even an independent faction or independent party or independent town, shall we say. There's 2 independent towns, 3 faction towns, including your own. So the enemy could have 4 towns at this point, which allows something like 20 or 24 heroes in the field. Now, obviously, 24 heroes would be 5 parties. Now, you obviously have only fight one of the parties one at a time, so there is that, but at the same time, that could be quite a shocker if you're at it. Now, I've never run into the whole lot once. That would be very hard to survive if they all just attacked you successively, one after the other. So here we're really seeing the power of Bloodlust, because we killed an enemy unit. We got ourselves an action point. And since we also had slash dash, that meant we've 2 action points. So we finish up having made an attack and a move and attack, enough action points remaining to make another move, or in this case a double move and an attack using the Fireburst, which is another enemy down that we wouldn't have had an opportunity to kill under normal circumstances. Now I thought I had a whirlwind. However, we have a chain lightning, which under the circumstances does just as well. Back out into the real world. Map overview. Let's see what's going on. So, what's the nice thing in the shield? Plus 25% of aid. It's not great, but it's okay. I mean, you know, it's all to the good. That one is definitely one I'm keeping an eye on, and as I say, I also need to acquire some more magic. Now, I can swap stuff around here, particularly, for instance, I could use the shield to negate some of the effects of the Mask of War. Go after these guys. It looks like a fairly easy fight. The clerics seem the most dangerous element of it. And as I said, the energy drink is just, I mean, the amount of damage you can do in the first round, or if you save it from the first round, sometimes the second round, can be just break the back of the enemy force, especially on these world battle type scenarios. Can be a bit more, well, it's still pretty powerful. I mean, there's no question about it, but it's it doesn't shine as much with the against hero parties, because obviously the hero parties the excess of action points isn't the same thing, because the heroes have their own abilities. What I find most difficult about the hero parties is that I think the Forest Utopia and the Trolls have a definite edge. I actually think they win the fights more often than most of the parties. Generally, because of the way I play, I tend to run into the AI party. Usually I see where the AI is, and I can see maybe I could run into both AI factions, but they wouldn't have crossed my border, so to speak, until I actually open the border. Or they might do it around week 3 to cross the border themselves. But usually when they do so, one of the factions is very dominant. And I think more often than not, if the AI plays among itself, the Forest Utopia faction, if a Forest Utopia faction spawns anywhere on the map, the AI will run Trolls exclusively as heroes, because they're just that much tougher. I think they definitely have an edge over any other faction, just because of the toughness of them and the extra health pool that they possess. And that is probably another flaw in this particular game, in the skirmish mode of this game. Now, just taking out some more of them. After this playthrough, of course, I'm obviously going to go through and play the actual campaign game. play the campaign game and play through the do a playthrough of the campaign game so that you can also see how the campaign game works. I think it's probably the campaign game is where the whole game shines, because you got obviously a story mode, and you still have the world map and the tactical game. Now, I haven't been following the Discord as closely as I should, but my impression is getting that the game has only been, so we say, a modest success. They haven't had the sales that they were hoping. So I don't know how much long-term support this game is going to get, obviously, because the developers... Now, I actually, for some reason or other, I didn't record the in footage there. It says, was there a fight there that I didn't record the footage to either? Or did I just not do the final thing? So yeah, I ran out of... I stopped recording footage and kept playing the game for a short while before I realised what had happened. I think it was just the end of that fight and maybe another fight. But yes, as I was saying, I don't know how much support this game is going to get going forward and how much extra content it will get, which is a pity because I think it's a really neat game, and I really hope Cookie Bite have every success, and you know that it takes off a bit and actually does well for them. But it looks like it didn't get the initial support that they were hoping for, and it's only been because it had modest enough sales. So we'll see how long it goes. We'll see if there's any new content. I will certainly cover it and let people know. And like I said, the next thing I'm planning to do now is just run the campaign and react to that. Do a playthrough of that as well, and I certainly will play it again. Probably not as intensively as I've had over the last couple of years, because I've played this game a lot, but I had fun doing it. I think I found every playthrough to be entertaining. I mean, could do with a bit more polish, I think, in the skirmish game in particular, but you know, I think this is a really, really excellent game. Yet another fight, so this time we're lots of peasants, and they're starting off kind of distant from us, and because we have a relatively low level party, it's good to keep the distance. Make use of the Overwatch mechanic, and you know, make use of the brace mechanic. Now again, very helpful to have the Grudge Arena upgrade. And it's even better if you get the Vengeance Camp. But I have, like I said, been blocked in acquiring magic, and also there are definitely other upgrades that I would prioritise over Vengeance Camp. It's not the be all and end all of it, but it is a really nice upgrade to have, because essentially you get a free attack that every time somebody attacks you, and that gives you essentially it's a free action point. Now, some of my responses here, I think, are questionable. I think I was definitely. Do I go for the kick here, or is this the one I go for the kick, or is it the next one? Yeah, no, I go for the kick there. That's okay. It's the turn after this that I think it gets kind of odd. Now I move down here, and I realize obviously I don't want to stun my my ranger, and I want to heal her up as well. So we pull the ranger back. I don't really have an effective... Nobody's lined up on this side. In fact, the AI is pretty good at avoiding lining people up. Unlike when I started playing this thing first, the AI was actually very prone to lining people up in nice straight lines. Made the physics very easy to do. But with some people lined up already, and of course we go for Fire Blast, because Fire Blast is just the business. It's because it's one action point and it's fairly low level, does quite a lot of damage, and if you put a unit in, as long as they survive the process of being surrounded, it's a very potent attack. So yeah, this is the one where actually I start doing odd things. Because there's a lot to be said for... Now, I took that. I'm not too sure. I might be better off actually just taking an upgrade. It can be... In a 4-person party, I think, when you have a savage as well, the ability to exchange an action point from the paladin to somebody else can be very, very powerful. Now, I move up here, and I think that was probably not a bad idea. Or maybe it wasn't. I'm not sure, you see. The other alternative would be to move the guy behind the paladin, in front of the paladin, and then kick them off the pillar to get the 2 peasants behind the pillar. So I'm going to bestow the extra action point here, which means that we actually kill those 2. And now it turns out that I have 3 action points here. So what I do is I just go into Overwatch. Now there's basically 2 peasants under zone of control. And we just go into Overwatch here as well. So it just means that the peasants, when they move, so one of them hits the paladin in order to get rid of the reaction attack. So the other one can move without triggering an opportunity attack. But of course they trigger the Overwatches instead. And same difference. They die anyway. So I think it worked out. Although I'm not too sure if it was the optimal move. I think I might have been able to do something somewhat better. However, we cleaned out the fight. We didn't have to fight any further. And we have a level up at the end of it. And we still have movement. And we have an uncommon chest. Which has... Come on. Come on, you know you want it. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Another sword. Quite a good one. So there's 2 decent swords now that I've picked up. And we have a level up in the thing. We have to take the level up. It's one of those ones. You have no choice. So we're starting to get a decent looking party here together now. What do I do next? What I do next, I'm not too sure if it's the right thing that I've done. I start amalgamating parties. I create a 4-person party, but I do it by moving one of the more experienced people out of the low level party into the high level party. Come on, you want the goblin fizzy drink. Whereas I think I should have moved the low level people into the high level party. And moved a high level person, the melee savage, out of the high level party. Move the savage out of the high level party into the low level party, and make the 2-person party one with a savage and another ranged unit. Can't build a castle, you see, because I don't have the magic, which is a big problem, because I need the extra. I need the castle upgrade. Gives me another +2 to the hero cap, which means I can field 2 4-person parties. I'm going to go with tactics because that's an extra action point. And extra action points really make a difference at this stage of the game. We have an intern. We don't actually go for the fizzy drink. Could have gone for the fizzy drink. Now we're going for the goblin energy drink. Now we go for the goblin energy drink, and now we start going amalgamating the parties. Now I actually did make an attempt at the no, these fights are not doable. I did make an attempt. That's a doable fight, alright. And again, it costs things are uncommon chests, so there's actually probably worth doing. I did have a go at the cage, but it was unsuccessful, so I just reloaded from save and didn't do it. So I won't be showing that this round. But the in my opinion, and again, I think I completely underestimated that particular artifact, the Wings of Meritocracy, because I didn't really realise that it would work with area effects, and therefore would actually be an ideal thing to give to the wizard. because the wizard would then be regenerating health from area effect attacks. You see, that looks, well, it is an easy attack with the 3-person, but it's still an easy attack with the 2-person by the ratings, but not as easy as I thought, and I actually tried doing it, and again, my party swapping here I think was less than optimal. I'd have put her across, and I'd have moved, well, I moved her across the less capable party, but I should probably have moved the paladin back, and then maybe also moved over the ranger. Something along those lines. We have finally gotten the magic, because I just picked up some spare magic. And now we have a turn, and I did, like I said, I had a go at that cage and then gave up on it, because I basically attacked with the wrong party. I attacked my 2-member party rather than my 4-member party. And I really have, like I said, the wrong 2 members in that 2-member party. Now the plan obviously with the 2-member party, now that we have the castle, would be to go back to the castle, pick up 2 more members so that we have 2 4-person parties. The trouble is that the experienced heroes in the 4-person party are going to be the ranged units, not the melee units. And the melee units are going to be quite fragile at the start. So I think my swapping around was probably less than significantly less than optimal here, and definitely used the wrong party here. But anyway, we'll see you again for the next part. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please press like, comment, share. It really helps the channel out. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.